Welcome to the lower Skagit River. Today we'll be flying over where the North Fork of the Skagit River flows into Skagit Bay, the body of water bounded by Whidbey Island, Camano Island, and the mainland. And it will be at high tide. In the opening shot, you may have noticed that the copter was moving around quite a bit. That is for the same reason that the reeds were moving in that shot. It is very windy here. The tide was coming in and there was a strong wind coming from the west. In fact, this is probably the windiest that I would actually fly in. Now up ahead is Craft Island, and the nearest island beyond it is Ika Island. Getting back to the wind, the Phantom would maintain a rough position fairly well, but strong gusts could really knock it out of position. On the positive side, the flat nature of the flooded alluvial terrain meant that the RC and FPV signals were strong and had great range. I did venture as far as 2 kilometers on this flight, but the limit was based on heavy battery usage heading into the wind, rather than signal strength. When I was flying, those people atop Craft Island were not identifiable as humans on the FPV screen. The white shirt was visible as a small speck, but I wonder what they thought about the drone flying around. The wind did make the Phantom difficult to hear until it was unusually close, so I wonder if they were even aware of it. I wonder if they went there before the tide come in as well, since I didn't see any boats and it didn't seem like there was much dry ground heading out to the island. Now, another effect of the wind was making orbiting shots like this more difficult, since as the vector of the aircraft changed, so did the speed and impact of the wind on the Phantom, because the wind direction was more or less constant. Speaking of the wind, not only did it drain the battery quickly when flying upwind, but it dramatically reduced top speed. Full forward throttle heading into the wind only gave me about 20 miles per hour. Battery life remaining also dropped precipitously. In fact, as soon as I stopped before turning around to head home, the battery life remaining immediately jumped from under 9 minutes to 13 minutes. I was heading towards Ika Island up ahead, but looking at battery usage, I stopped my forward progress even though the signal was great, and there was minimal lag on the FPV. When coming back with a tailwind, not only did battery usage decline, but speed was much higher and the return flight was at about 45 miles per hour. Despite lots of battery life remaining now that I wasn't heading into the stiff sea breeze, I returned to my base at the Rawlins Road Fish and Wildlife Water Access and changed batteries. Another area that I've been working on is color correction and grading. I did a lynda.com course on basic color correction and grading by Ashley Kennedy. And starting with the Fort Casey State Park video, I'm using the 3-way color corrector effect in Premiere Pro, along with the Lumetri scopes. To take advantage of the color correction abilities, I've been filming with reduced contrast, saturation, and sharpness in order to maintain the hidden details in the base video files that would be lost if I was using higher contrasts and other settings in the camera. And then I would go and use Premiere Pro to bring out the magic. In many ways, it is akin to using a RAW file for still images. It is a learning process, but I'm particularly happy with how this one turned out. You'll notice there is a slight warmness to the light, since this was filmed between 4 and 5 in the afternoon. As a natural habitat, the Skagit River is among the gems of Washington State, since it is the only river system that has healthy populations of all 5 salmon species native to Washington. It is also the prime wintering ground for several bird species, including the Wrangell snow geese and bald eagles from Alaska. I am particularly drawn to shorelines because I like a variety of colors and textures of coastlines, be they tidal flats, estuaries, beaches, rocky cliffs, or what have you. In addition, underwater features that are visible, especially with a polarizing filter, add another subset of elements to the picture, as does varying colors of the water itself. Risk to people on the surface is also minimized when over water, although if the bird goes down over water, it's pretty much gone forever. Next to the fish and wildlife property where most of the filming was done is a farm, and the farmer himself came out to the water access to see what was going on. He was celebrating his birthday that day, but was curious about the activity, so I had a nice conversation with him and showed him how the copter worked. The final shots show a panning shot of the estuary from his property. Thanks, John. Well, I hope you enjoyed our visit to the estuary of the North Fork of the Skagit River. If you liked what you saw, please hit like and by all means subscribe. Later.